Thank you, Mr. Brighton. You have the word.
Thank you so much. I'm extremely delighted to see all of you. You're all looking so beautiful, all smiling. And I think that really symbolizes the energy that all of us are sharing. As I've been introduced, my name is Brighton Kaoma, and I am the new Global Director for SDSN Youth. I'm exceedingly pleased to speak to you today, as this is my first big opportunity to share some of my stories, but also to listen to all of you about your incredible work in different parts of the world. First of all, I would like to thank Theresa and the entire team for putting together this exemplary summit. I understand the wheels started turning way back before what we are seeing as an incredible summit today. So congratulations. Congratulations to even all the partners that have really given invaluable support to putting this summit together. Of course, it's always quite challenging to speak when so many incredible people have spoken and given extremely incredible anecdotes about sustainability, about how we can work together, but also about things that we need to look forward to as we go through this summit. But I'm going to take my few minutes to just challenge you and share with you a very interesting anecdote I recently came across. And this anecdote was inspired by the book Ripples from the Zambezi. So as you might know, the Zambezi is in the southern part of Africa. It's a floodplain that borders about 4 countries. One is Zambia, the country I'm from, Zimbabwe, which is right next to Zambia. Then there's another country called Botswana and Namibia. So the Zambezi floodplains is naturally inundated with water. So most of the people that live in these communities engage in fishing, they engage in agriculture, and they grow their own food. But primarily, fishing is one of the biggest economic activities for local communities. So from Ripples from the Zambezi, there was a project where experts decided to teach Zambian people how to grow food. So they arrived with their very big seeds in southern Zambia in this absolutely magnificent valley down the Zambezi River. And they started teaching local people how to grow tomatoes and zucchini. And of course, the local people had absolutely no interest in doing that. So they paid them to come and work. But sometimes the local people would show up, sometimes they would not. But they were amazed that the local people in such a fertile valley would not have any agriculture. But instead of asking them how come they were not growing anything, they simply said, thank God we are here. And just in the nickname to save the Zambian people from starvation. So, and everything, in the Zambezi Valley grew beautifully. There are these very magnificent tomatoes. In other parts of the world, the tomatoes were growing to like this size. Meanwhile, in the Zambezi, they could not believe that the tomatoes were growing to this size. However, after some time, they decided to engage the local community and ask why the local community were not participating. But the collaboration that existed did not provide that opportunity for the local people to give in their input. So one day, when the tomatoes were nice and ripe and red and ready for harvesting, some 200 hippos came out from the river and they ate everything. So all the work that they had put in growing these tomatoes had, to some extent, gone to waste. So then they went back to the community and said, my God, what really happened to all the effort that we put into growing our own tomatoes? So then the local people said, yes, that's why we have no agriculture here. And then they said, why didn't you tell us? And they said, you never asked. And that draws me to one very important element I want to share with you: the importance of speaking to each other and collaborating across organizations, across countries, and across regions. We are living in this global community, and all of us are global citizens. But each time we design solutions for sustainability, each time we design solutions for the most pressing challenges that we're faced with, we need to recognize one element, which is speaking to each other. But there are most times where we fail whenever we attempt to do certain things. And I'll speak about another important element of failure, but also the courage to come out of failure. Simply because you fail does not mean nothing is going to happen. And failure in this case means stripping away the non-essentials. When they tried to grow the tomatoes in the Zambezi Valley and they failed, they went back and realized that they could eliminate the non-essentials. And secondly, I'd like to also speak about something very relevant. As we eliminate the non-essentials, how do we become more open-minded to work together, but also to use our voices as young people? As you might know already, over 1.8 billion of us, young people around the world, are mobilizing and organizing. So if you choose to use your status and influence to raise your voice on behalf of those who have no voice, if you and I choose to identify not only with the powerful, but with the powerless, if we retain the ability to imagine ourselves into the lives of those who do not have our advantages, then it will not only be our families who will celebrate our existence, but the thousands and millions of people whose reality we might have helped to change. And lastly, I want to remind you that you do not need magic to change the world. All of us carry the power we need inside ourselves already, and we have the power to imagine better. So as the summit begins, let us all eliminate that thinking of feeding the hippos. Let's speak to each other, and let's realize that we do not need magic to change the world, because all of us have got the intrinsic abilities and creativities to create meaningful change. And if we do it with purpose and intention, the world is going to be our oyster. And of course, SDSN Youth is here to work with all the partners and support all of us in our respective communities and universities and clubs. And I look forward to changing the world together. Thank you so much for having given me this opportunity.
Wow, for me, it was an incredible speech. Thank you so much, Mr. Brighton. I believe that your words really inspire us to keep on and, of course, rephrase and build the way towards a more collaborative aspect, right? But now, participants, I am thrilled, delighted, and honored